Things fall apart pretty quickly when our kids stop listening to us. To keep the lines of communication open, we need to know what's shutting our kids down. Here are 5 more signs that your child is choosing not to listen to you. Sign number 6, your child is refusing to make eye contact. You know your kid. If you ask them to do something and they're suddenly avoiding eye contact, then what they're actually avoiding is the confrontation that's about to come. What confrontation, you ask? Well, the one that's going to follow after they choose not to listen to what you just said. Keep calm and give them the opportunity to respond or to actually do what you just asked them to do. If they do neither, simply remind them of your expectations around listening and what the consequences are if they choose not to. Follow for more signs and why they matter. Sign number 7, interrupting or talking over you. If your child is excited, this is going to happen now and then. It's an accident, not an intention. But if it's happening every time you ask them to do something that they don't want to do, well then this is a behavior that's not acceptable and it needs to be addressed. I am not saying don't let them speak, but your child does need to know what respectful communication looks like. That's why it's really important to make sure that you are practicing what you're preaching when it comes to communication with your child. As always, if your child is interrupting you but they're very frustrated or upset, keep calm and deal with those emotions first before you address the interrupting behavior. Like and subscribe this video for more signs and to learn why those signs really matter. Sign number 8, acting forgetful. Yes, forgetting things happens now and then, but if now and then starts to become all the time for your child, you definitely have a behavior worth addressing. Be aware of your child's emotional state. If they're upset, this might actually be a passive-aggressive way to defy whatever you're asking them to do. Support them with those emotions first, and then address the behavior. But if they think that they're pulling a fast one on you, it can be helpful to talk about responsibilities and how consequences exist, whether or not we remember those responsibilities. Now, if your child is legitimately forgetting things, work together to brainstorm ways that they can remember the tasks that you're giving them. Sign number 9, being defiant. This can be a tricky one. If your child becomes quickly defensive anytime that you try to bring up a misbehavior, a consequence, or a subject that they don't want to talk about, there is a good chance that they're just deflecting the conversation away from something that they really don't want to talk about. If so, we have to address this behavior immediately. But don't jump to conclusions. If they become agitated or upset, as always, we've got to support them with these emotions first and address them before addressing the behavior. Children of perfectionists and people pleasers can be exceptionally sensitive to criticism. And children who often don't feel listened to by an adult can become quite reactive and defensive when that adult asks them to listen. Ask questions, actively listen to what your child says, and you're going to find out why they're acting defiantly. Sign number 10, and the most obvious, defiant behavior. This may need no explanation, but if your child is actively doing the opposite of something that you've asked them to do, you can be certain that they are choosing not to listen to you. If they're doing so from an agitated state of mind, calm them down and deal with that first. But if this behavior is ongoing or it's increasing in frequency, you can be pretty certain that something else is going on. It may be that your child doesn't feel listened to or that they don't trust you. Make sure that open communication is the rule and not the exception in your household. If you're not certain about the kinds of conversations that need to be on the table at all times in your household, feel free to check out my free guide. I've already laid them out there. Sometimes these behaviors mean that something more serious is going on with your child. It might be a symptom of something that your child is going through, be it developmental or peer-related or a conflict at school, but it could also be something that you've been unknowingly encouraging. Subscribe and follow to find out the difference and learn what you can do about it.